Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, no longer California, Los Angeles, to be pseudo-specific. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025, and this right here is the show that you've been waiting for. It's a daily show. We call it the TNAM Daily Show. What does TNAM stand for? It stands for the New American Media. Why does it do that? Because the old American media has failed and you know it. You're sick of it. You're sick of being lied to. You're sick of a group of people constantly stirring up chaos, constantly. And so we're going to discuss what the leftist lies are creating, the atmosphere of assassination culture in the United States, a violent underbelly of Democrat cities, a weaponization of a militant wing underneath their tutelage, their funding, their guidance, their amplification. The whole system is in a really bad shape right now. There was a shooting in an ICE facility right after you have people like Jimmy Kimmel, right after you have people like Gavin Newsom, right after you have people across the board on the Democrat side pushing chaos, lying about what's happening to make it seem like you must start getting this way. That's what domestic terrorists do. And now we've seen in 2 weeks, 2 assassinations from allegedly rifles. The more you dig into Charlie Kirk, the more, well, I saw one yesterday with 5 or 6 million views say, no. Didn't come from the front. It came from the back, right over here, up on this second, third level. There's a bush type thing that's not there in Google Maps, and it doesn't belong there. And it's actually a human shape in this grainy piece of footage. And that's the exact angle that it happens. And a muzzle flash. After scouring the internet and finding one piece of footage that somebody caught something out of the corner of their eye. It's hard to even know what's going on. Also, World War III nuclear situation has gone, well, everything is ramping up right now. NORAD is, there's activity off the coast of Alaska right now with the Russians. And they, as much as President Trump was trying to get some sort of ceasefire arrangement, the two sides could not agree to it, would not agree to it. Now Trump seems to be goading the other side into, well, if that was a real military, they would have taken care of it a long time ago. Well, if Europe wants to pay for everything, I'm sure it'll be done in no time. Now you got encroachment into airspace, Russia to Alaska. This is not a great sign that we are escalating. So there's a lot to figure out today in our abbreviated show. So sit back, type your comments in the comments section. And we will begin today's show right now.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you all for being here today a little bit earlier ahead of schedule. This is the this is the TNAM Daily Show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's dump the news out onto the table and see what we got, shall we? All right. Kathy Hochul at Bethpage Ryder Cup.
Friend in mine in attendance, Governor Kathy Hochul. Governor, thank you so much for being
New Yorkers are not happy with Kathy Hochul.
here.
Do you hear the boos? Bad day for the worst governor in America, says Elise Stefanik.
And thank you to your team, too, for getting us ready for the Ryder Cup in New York.
Get out of here, Kathy, a New Yorker shouts at the end. There it was. All right, the Secretary Kristi Noem put this out here. For months, we've been warning politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric about ICE law enforcement before someone was killed. These horrendous killings in Dallas must serve as a wake-up call to the far left that their rhetoric about ICE has consequences, comparing ICE day in and day out to the Nazi Gestapo, the secret police, and slave patrols has consequences. The men and women of ICE are fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. They get up every morning to try and make our communities safer. Like everyone else, we just want to go home to our families at night. The violence and dehumanization of these men and women who are simply enforcing the law must stop. We are praying for the victims and their families. 2 detainees were shot. I'm sorry, someone says there's 1,200 missing detainees? What? First I'm hearing about that. By the way, let's see, can I do this? I think it might work. Hello, John. By the way, John made a batch of mugs. So if you want to send a $40 super chat, send me your address, Brian at the New American Media, and I'll mail you out a mug. Actually, with all the fees, I was thinking it should be $50. But for all of our regulars, John, they get their discount. So by the time eBay gets their YouTube gets their 30% cut, shipping, the cost of goods. But yeah, super awesome. The New American Media mugs. Red handle, red inside. Super cool. But yeah, we got to ratchet this stuff back. The left has gone out of control. And they've been doing it for a while, though. Clay Travis reminds us, just in the past 3 years, left-wingers tried to kill Brett Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court justice, tried to kill Trump twice in Butler and in Florida, burned down the Pennsylvania governor's mansion. They shot up 2 Christian schools, killing many innocent kids, assassinated Charlie Kirk, and have shot up ICE offices. Yeah, Trash Panda, accountability time was January 20th. Well, the president's saying what we're saying. Where are the arrests? Bondi, what are you doing? Go. This is not normal political fare for a nation. This is an active subjugation. This is an active, ongoing coup attempt by the deep state. They've been doing this for a decade or more. Various degrees of criminality. It's one thing to try to get your message across. It's another thing to try to win people to your side politically with arguments and ideas and conversation. It's another to eliminate your political opponents by throwing them in a cage or exploding them. And that's what the left is doing. And that shit is not acceptable. It's not. Clay Travis is calling them out on that. James Wood says, hey, here's Democrats at work. In the schools, they go, they're all Nazis. And then on TV, they say, they're all Nazis. Then you got to have a rock and roll player saying, they're all Nazis, yeah? And then you program the week. They're all Nazis. I'm going to take this into my own hands. You're creating an army of violence. Political violence. Fox News reporting a detention officer has been fired after posting I am Antifa on a social media post. Antifa is, of course, a domestic terrorist organization. A North Carolina detention officer was terminated after aligning himself with the far-left radical group and that he would never comply with a fascist regime on social media. Brian Edwards worked at the law enforcement agency since 22, after previously serving as a correctional officer at a state prison. This comment, someone 100% needs to check that dude's hard drives. Tucker Carlson here. You can watch the 2-minute clip. I'll just tell you. He says Benjamin Netanyahu is running around the Middle East in his own country saying, I control the U.S. I control Donald Trump. It's humiliating. Tucker says, I shouldn't have to put up with that. 9 million people. I'm attacking my leaders who are allowing 350 million people to be forced into doing things that are bad for me. Atlas Society reminds us, somehow we have a... What, buddy? Nimbus is very talkative. Somehow we have a world where people who push more drugs on kids are pro-science heroes. And people who argue for kids to take less drugs, eat healthy, and play outside are anti-science zealots. Nimbus, for real, what? Nimbus is demanding my attention. You jumping up? Up. There we go. All right. Nimbus wanted to participate here. All right, you can be a part of the show. Mike Cernovich says Republicans are weak. Well, let's see what Matt Walsh has to say. Let's click this. Cernovich says Republicans are weak. Matt Walsh says, imagine that we have a Democrat administration. Now imagine that a far-right radical shot and killed one of the most influential liberals in the country on live TV. Now imagine that thousands of other conservatives shamelessly celebrated the assassination and called for more of them. Now imagine that in the same week, another right-winger shot up a country club while shouting MAGA, and another one shot up a news station and left behind a manifesto complaining about liberal bias in the media. Now imagine that a week after all those attacks, a conservative sniper perched on a rooftop fired into a Planned Parenthood clinic, killing or injuring multiple people. And imagine that this Planned Parenthood attack was just the latest in a string of them stretching back several months. Is there any doubt how the Democrats would respond? Is there any doubt that they would wage a full-scale war on conservatives and have people like me frog marched in front of cameras in handcuffs and leg irons? Is there any doubt that they would declare martial law and label all right-wing expression incitement? Is there any doubt that they would be rounding up conservatives by the busload and shipping us to Guantanamo Bay? Is there any doubt that they would have Fox News and every other conservative media company shut down and its executives arrested or sued into bankruptcy? I'm not even advocating for Republicans to do all that Democrats would do if the roles were reversed. I believe in the rule of law. I know that they would throw the rules out, chuck the Constitution into a wood chipper, and ruthlessly persecute all of us if conservatives engaged in the kind of systematic campaign of political terrorism that the left is currently conducting. I don't want anyone to be persecuted. What I do want, what we all want, is for the Trump administration to do absolutely everything legally in its power to prosecute and punish every leftist responsible for committing, coordinating, funding, or inciting this epidemic of political violence. I want them to actually treat Antifa like the terrorist organization that it is and handle its adherents and affiliates the same way we handle ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Now is the time. Lives hang in the balance. Crush the terrorists. Do it now. I'm just going to type an I agree button. Prepare accordingly. So that's just a reminder that in 2013, Reuters was posting articles allegedly saying Trump, that too much Tylenol in pregnancy could affect development. But then 8 years later, Trump links autism to Tylenol and vaccines and claims are not backed by science. So if that's true that they put that out there twice, they're straight up lying to you. And these are all these other publications talking about Tylenol increased risks. All these CNN articles, they seem to forget that the internet is forever. Acetaminophen during pregnancy increases risk of hyperactivity. Study links acetaminophen in pregnancy to ADHD, but experts question the results. By the way, they're funding more research into these topics to see if we can recreate this in double-blind, placebo-tested studies, all of this stuff. That's what you want. That's the actual thing that you want. It should be. But the media can't report anything accurately. Oh, here's a good update. Letitia James may join James Comey with their indictment. Here we go.
Office is expected to charge Tish James, the New York Attorney General, with mortgage fraud. And of course, Donald Trump, we all saw it posted on Truth Social in recent days, exhorting his Attorney General to charge both of those people as soon as possible. Again, this is, grand juries are secret. This is a fluid situation. It's also important to know, though, that the U.S. attorney, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in this office, Eric Siebert, was essentially forced out last week, in part because he was refusing to bring these cases. We're told that he was opposed. The same office is expected to charge Tish James, the New York Attorney General, with mortgage fraud. And
so there you go. Letitia James has earned it.
Folks want.
Stephen A. Smith has people in his ear trying to get him to act demonic, and he's saying, nope, I'm not doing it.
Me to apologize or want me to correct myself, you can go to hell. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit up there, neither celebrate somebody's murder or gloss over what happened to them in the moment. Now that a memorial service is taking place, now that people have had an opportunity to mourn, now that we have an opportunity to sit back and go through all of that, maybe we can go back and revisit some of the things he said. Make sure we do our best to contextualize it properly. And whatever level of criticism, cynicism, or anything beyond that he may deserve at that particular moment in time, it seems more apropos today. It wasn't apropos last week. It wasn't apropos the days before that. Because we live in America. And I don't want anybody come thinking that it's okay to come across like there's ever a reason to condone or act like it's okay for somebody to get murdered in front of our very eyes. That's me. Folks want me to apologize or want me to correct myself, you can go to hell. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit up there, neither celebrate somebody's murder or gloss over what happened to them in the moment. Now that a memorial service is taking place, now that people have...
No, at least he's got his humanity. Oh, I forgot this was clipped into two parts.
That has been me, that is me, and that will always be me. I'm not backing up from that for anybody. To me, it's human decency. Where the issue's going? He said something that was offensive to the black community. What, that disappears now? Of course it doesn't. He said something that was disrespectful to women. He said something about civil rights legislation and how it should have never been put into place. He said something about members of the LGBTQ community. Those issues aren't going anywhere. We could discuss them now. We didn't have to discuss them then. It was a week ago. It's wrong to want to give a family an opportunity to mourn? Think about what you're saying. That has been me, that is me, and that will always be me. I'm not backing up from that for anybody. To me...
So Stephen A. seems to be wanting to take control of the Democrat Party. He's one of the only sane ones on that side. David Harris with an update on the situation there at the Dallas ICE facility shooting.
This morning at 7 a.m., chaos erupted outside an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas, when a sniper perched on a roof of a nearby office unleashed a hail of gunfire on an ICE van. One detainee was killed and two others critically injured, currently in the hospital fighting for their lives. The suspected shooter, a 29-year-old coward named Joshua John, turned the gun on himself when the good guys closed in. No ICE officers were harmed, thank God. But the scars of this attack, they run deep. This wasn't random, friends. The FBI is on the scene calling it targeted violence. And here's the kicker. Shell casings found near the shooter's body had anti-ICE scrawled on them, a manifesto carved in metal, screaming the shooter's intent to wage war on law enforcement. FBI Director Kash Patel blasted that chilling image across X, laying bare the truth. This was a calculated assault on the badge, on order, and on America itself. And where does this hate come from? Well, let's rewind the tape just a little bit. Just last night, Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom, California's self-styled king of chaos, struts on the Stephen Colbert stage and has the audacity to tell the radical left to push back harder against ICE agents. He didn't just whisper it, friends. He actually declared our heroes are showing authoritarian tendencies and taking authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government.
People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull. We're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud that I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking, also to require.
This is just awful messaging that this guy would be putting targets on people like that and trying to whip up something that it isn't. People that broke in need to go back. You don't get to break into the movie theater and watch the movie. You don't get to sneak into Disney. You have to leave. You can't open the back door of the nightclub. You don't have your wristband. You didn't get checked on your way in. There's a system here, and it's meant to protect the innocent, because there's a lot of bad people with a lot of bad intentions that have to be filtered out. That's first and foremost importance. Gavin Newsom and this Democrat Party have been constantly on this kick to try to paint everybody in the worst possible light, because they see it as their only chance to get people to vote for them. And it's disgusting. It makes every bit of sense to want to make sure the people inside your nightclub, you checked their ID, they're the proper age. You patted them down, make sure they're not bringing in their own bottles of booze. They're not bringing in weapons. They're not trafficking people. This is basic. This is basic. You don't want someone bringing a massive amount of fentanyl in that could poison the guests. You run the country like a nightclub. There's nothing about brown people. It's about people. No bouncer wants a Ukrainian, a Polish person, white as the driving snow. An English person is white as the driving snow, except their teeth. Maybe not as white. Gavin Newsom and these Democrats with this toxic messaging, they are so reckless. They are stirring up racial arson at every turn, and they've been doing it for 15 years. This shit has to stop, because they're falsely representing who we are and what we believe. We being normal America. No, not right-wingers. No, not libertarians. No, not conservatives. No, not Republicans. No, not MAGA. I just mean normal people who want some basic guardrails so we don't go careening off the side of the mountain. That's not a lot to ask. And Gavin Newsom framing it this way is just absolutely reckless and disgusting. The Democrats have officially become a domestic terrorist organization in my eyes and in the eyes of many, because they will not stop doing this stuff.
You have simple identification, to your point. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government.
This morning at 7 a.m., chaos erupted outside an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas, when a sniper perched on a roof of a nearby office unleashed a hail of gunfire on an ICE van. One detainee was killed and 2 others critically injured, currently in the hospital fighting for their lives. The suspected shooter, a 29-year-old coward named Joshua John, turned the gun on himself when the good guys closed.
So Gavin Newsom has got some explaining to do. The Democrats have some growing up to do, and I think law enforcement has some more work to do. This domestic terrorism wing of the left has to be dealt with, because they're ramping everything up. Robbie Starbuck says, in a little over a week, leftists have murdered Charlie Kirk, shot an ABC affiliate for not airing Kimmel, shot a wedding yelling "Free Palestine," shot people at an ICE facility. This is a war declared by the left. They murdered Charlie Kirk. They shot an ABC affiliate for not airing Kimmel. They shot a wedding yelling "Free Palestine." They shot people at an ICE facility. They had mass celebrations and celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder in the streets of New York. This is domestic terrorism. Robbie Starbuck sees it that way. Yep. This shooter perched on a Dallas rooftop unleashed a sniper fire at ICE facility. That's with anti-ICE on bullet casings. Like they've been taught to do this somewhere. There's a coordinated campaign of terrorism happening right now. 3 vulnerable detainees in a transport van. So what? He shot up the van or he shot up the building? Like the details of the specifics, I'm still a little unclear on. And why is this not playing? The Rumble feed has been weird lately. Let's try this again. Democrat primary voter. Indiscriminate shots betrayed logic and incompetence, slaughtering the very migrants he presumably sought to shield from deportation. He then turned the rifle on himself, leaving a family stunned and a nation grappling with radicalism's reckless toll. Mickey Sherrill, Democrat candidate for New Jersey governor. She's asked about making $7 million from insider trading. Check this answer out. This should be the end of her career.
When Newsmax claims that you made $7 million from stock trades, what are they talking about?
Newsmax is, first of all, a very questionable organization that is paying multiple fines. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
That was a weird answer.
Did you make $7 million in stock trades at all? Or?
I haven't.
Is making $7 million in stock trades something you would forget?
I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to. Again, what kind of came from.
So when Newsmax claims.
Yeah, that's what that is, a just flubbing this. So it's the latest incident in a series of left-wing violence. Why would leftists think they need to stop ICE with violence? Daily Wire. Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is sweeping folks up off the streets. They're being shipped to foreign torture dungeons. They're attributing that to Tim Walz. This is about the secret police. We're not North Korea. We're not the Soviet Union. We're the United States of America. And we're pushing back against these authoritarian tendencies, says Gavin Newsom, the new Joe Biden. ICE exists to dehumanize, deport, and destroy the lives of Black and brown people. As long as it is in operation, we can't restore dignity to the immigration process. I'm working on an Ilhan Omar impression. ICE is acting like a terrorist force. People across the country are being kidnapped and disappeared off the street by masked men. These ICE raids are designed to tear families apart, spread fear, and terrorize communities. Kami Mamdani. ICE is terrorizing this city and this country and frankly attacking the very fabric of what makes so many of us proud to be Americans. It's time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement when the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting. What they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence, says J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States. Message to the liberal idiots taking Tylenol while pregnant just so they can stick it to the Trump administration. Here you go.
We're hearing that acetaminophen and Tylenol are bad, but we really don't know why. So let me break it down why it's bad. And we've known this for a really long time. It's just our public health policy in the United States is absolute garbage. So here we go. When Tylenol is detoxified, it produces a toxic byproduct called NAPQI. This causes a lot of problems for the liver. It causes brain inflammation. It causes problems systemically. This is not just a kid problem. This is also an adult problem. As we age, glutathione storages become depleted. And if we don't have optimal glutathione, then this NAPQI can increase and build up and cause issues. Tylenol and acetaminophen can pass through the placenta really, really easy. In children and fetuses, they tend to have really low storages of glutathione in general. And so this causes a lot of problems. This can cause NAPQI to build up in a fetus or in a child, and this causes oxidative stress, this causes liver injury, this causes brain inflammation and neurodevelopmental issues, this causes all sorts of stuff too. So in general, we've been saying this for a really long time, we don't like our patients taking Tylenol for this one thing. On top of that, when somebody is really sick and they take Tylenol for a fever, they deplete their glutathione, which in turn causes them to be sick longer. It makes zero sense. Plus, your fever can be really important as long as it's not life-threatening. We like fevers. So there you go.
By the way, don't take anybody's word for that. For information on health and elections, I need to tell you under duress, countervailing views scrolling at the bottom of your screen can be found on cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control. Tim Pool talking about Jimmy Kimmel. No, talk on it. Here we go.
That I am wrong, but for those that have been paying attention to my show over the past several weeks, I've not, I will not say that I predicted these attacks specifically, but I have pointed out that as you are exiting the civil strife phase and you're entering, I'm going to say it, civil war, because that's the words that are being plastered all over the internet right now. This is what it will begin to look like. You will wake up to news reports of isolated shootings and attacks. You will hear of these stories far away. They may not come to where you live. I hope I am wrong and this does not escalate, but I do not see right now. And I hate to bring Jimmy in this because I know a lot of people are going to criticize me for it, but it has to be said. If Jimmy Kimmel is not going to simply say the words, "I'm sorry," this country is in extreme trouble. I hope and pray that I am wrong, but for those that have been paying attention to my show over the past several weeks, I've not, I will not say that I predicted these attacks specifically, but I have pointed out that as you are exiting the civil strife phase and you're entering, I'm going to say it, civil war, because that's the words that are being plastered all over the internet right now. This is what it will begin to look like. You will wake up to news reports of isolated shootings and attacks. You will hear of these stories far away. They may not come to where you live. I hope I am wrong and this does not escalate, but I do not see right now. And I hate to bring Jimmy in this because I know a lot of people are going to criticize me for it, but it has to be.
Here we go. Second part. Dave Portnoy adds his last point on Kimmel. If Kimmel came on and apologized like this the day after his remarks, he probably wouldn't have been suspended. But by all accounts, he wanted to double down again for the billionth time. This isn't a free speech issue. He works for Mickey Mouse on network TV. Nobody said he was going to jail. He was dealing with the consequences of making off-color jokes and lying, by the way, about the murder of a guy who meant a ton to a ton of people and blamed it on the very people who love him the most before his body was even cold. So yeah, there was outrage that Mickey had to deal with. Then the pendulum swung the other way and they put him back on air. Either way, it was never a free speech issue. When you work for somebody else and you offend a ton of people, you deal with the consequences. Him framing this as free speech is a joke, he says. Well, whatever. Zuby reminds us this pandemic already revealed, canceling people who support murder is perfectly moral and legitimate. This pandemic already revealed that millions of people wish death upon those they disagree with, even in liberal places. When people show you who they are over and over, believe them. Some people are soulless. I know that is hard to accept. Being decent, honest, and civil puts you at a tactical disadvantage against people who don't care about that. But if you sink to their level, then Satan claims 2 souls instead of 1. Stay courageous and stay safe. Lean into God and protect your loved ones. Look at this. I can't believe how hateful and unhinged people have become. Here's the people. Just a bot farm of fake accounts, fake people. You wonder how many people you argue with are just sock puppet accounts. All right, Toria Brooke tells us here we need to pay attention. There's new video. Pay attention to this guy. Possibly taking objects from the scene moments after the shot or device was detonated. Have something, maybe a lavalier. Guy in brown appears to give him the remote detonator. He then runs away with it. This is one of the theories that are bouncing around right now. I mean, something was exchanged very fast in a very coordinated manner there. He jumped the table. He grabbed something, went to the other guy, grabbed something else, then ran out in a hurry. I mean, that was as fast as you could imagine something like that happening. That was very coordinated, it seemed. One more time. Both men grabbed something in there. So people are questioning this and digging in deep. Ben Carson has been sworn in as National Nutrition Advisor. That's a doctor, Ben Carson. This is all from Toria Brook, by the way. BRICS News was saying China agrees to terms with U.S. for a TikTok deal. I don't know that I've seen this reported elsewhere.
It's so important.
Florida is investing in studies on generic drugs like ivermectin to see if they can have great cures.
If you're researching, like some told Dr. Panetta,
young man,
this kid skipped school. Wonder if he could get a picture with the VP. You know, these are nice moments, but you wonder how staged these things are. Life is but a stage. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez in Spain sends a warship to accompany the aid flotilla in Gaza to ensure international law is respected. To anger a conservative, lie to them. To anger a liberal, tell them the truth. To anger a conservative, lie to them. To anger a liberal, tell them the truth. That is way too close to reality. Do you see what they did at the White House? They had all the presidents lined up here. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and the auto pen signing Joe Biden because he was a puppet, and he's calling him out on that. Is that fair? Is that mean? I don't know. Dr. Raymond Nichols says we lost our damn minds. Instead of asking, is Tylenol safe? People are asking, who said it? If it came from their guy, it's gospel. If it came from the other side, they'll pop pills on camera just to prove a point. Is it both sides?
What is highly likely going into the 2024 election is that a small subset of Trump's very well-armed and extremist base will try to kill people.
He will imprison, he will execute whoever he's allowed to imprison, execute.
Major party candidate is saying, you elect me, there's going to be dictatorship, bloodbath, violence, retribution against my political enemies. That equals what we saw in Italy and Germany and other places.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Can you believe, like, this is what the left has turned into?
Look as his character is stabbed to death. Where is John Wilkes when you need him?
Where's John Wilkes Booth when you need him? Holding up Trump's severed head. There's music. I gotta mute it.
Turning this nation into Nazi Germany.
I hate comparing Trump to Hitler because Hitler could concentrate for more than 30 seconds.
I want to start using the word fascist.
Yeah, he's a fascist.
And tendencies, many tendencies like Adolf Hitler.
You don't have a president, as you said, talking about exterminating Latinos.
This is not a reach. I could go back and talk about.
Yeah, I was accused of saying that, oh, you shared something that said something about exterminating trans people. I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. No, that doesn't represent my opinion or the company's opinion. No, that's not a thing. Yeah, well, something went out. We have conversations on the show. Do you even watch the show? Type stuff in the comments. What are we talking about? They need to hate you, so they need to lie about you. They need to take things out of context. This is a really dark time for America. This is not good in any way.
About Nazi.
But it's not both sides.
Germany, and I do it without any concerns whatsoever. And if people can't start drawing the parallels, well, you're just stupid, or you have your head in the sand, or you're one of them.
The 1940s Nazi sympathizers. They were also called Make America First.
I'm sorry, is that straight out of Nazi Germany?
We'll go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and...
Anyway, there's music. I got to mute it. But like, the left needs to be held accountable. By the way, glad you all showed up at the bar today at an earlier time. If anyone's interested, we are on Patreon at the New American Media. We have a tip jar at Venmo and Cash App. That's my name, Brian Engelman. And then PayPal, the email address is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Yeah, this is not both sides. This is a Democrat thing. So Defeat Democrats is also saying There are Muslims disguised as refugees, groups like ISIS embedded in the USA. Al-Qaeda has now called for lone wolf attacks to be made in America. Stay alert. This nation was invaded for the past several years. For what purpose? What cause? What purpose? That says anything is trash in him. So be aware when you're out and about. Charlie Kirk here. Prescient words.
At the core of the left, at the core of a liberal.
What's at their core? Someone that would use the sword if they had it.
Are very violent people at their core.
And there's piano, but they're very violent people at their core. They always have been. They can't debate. They can't have conversation. So they'll resort to these tactics. They're going to do everything they possibly can to try and murder this movement because they can't beat us. So they're going to try to take weapons. And no, we're very aware of it. We have to put full-time security. It's not a joke. This is who these people are. 27 Democrats. This is shared from Omar Navarro saying 27 Democrats in Colorado House voted against making indecent exposure to minors a Class 6 felony. Why would you protect a creep? Democrats said the bill targets drag shows in the transgender community. Well, why would they put their indecent parts near kids? That sounds like you're telling on yourself. Like, if you don't want adults exposing themselves to children, you'd be for this. But Democrats are creating legal loopholes for grown adults to flash children. It's a very interesting video here. Pro tip, never shine a laser at Marine One with President Trump on board. They locked in on this person and went to investigate immediately and arrest him immediately. So don't do that. Watch that video. Yeah, another report, Al-Qaeda, lone wolf attacks, stabbings, vehicle rammings, targeting officials, police, hospitals, churches. Hoax threats like swatting to divert resources. Warning comes as officials admit terrorists may have slipped in through the southern border gaps with nearly 2 million gotaways under Biden. Here's a reminder. If you don't think we're divided, wait until you see what unites us. That is powerful. If you don't think we're divided, wait until you see what unites us against you. Tom Homan just revealed threats against his life have increased significantly since becoming border czar. They want every Trump official and supporter unalived. Death threats on a level I've never seen before. If this hateful rhetoric doesn't stop, somebody is going to die. I've seen this movie before. I've been doing this 37 years. Let me get this. Can't read the rest of it. Yeah, they're scared that he's doing his job. Tucker Carlson explains the California bill sitting on Gavin Newsom's desk have to do with censorship. They want to bankrupt you through censorship in California. So flee blue cities, flee blue states. Watch his full video on this. It's on our Instagram feed. Stochastic terrorism, how words become violence. Here's a report on how that happens. Stochastic, it means random, but statistically inevitable. Terrorism will occur. Violence for political gain. Leaders, parties, press use words, not bullets, to inspire their violence and demonize their opponents. Monsters and traitors, or worse. Steve Bannon's not believing the official story.
We don't, but we still have answers on a lot of stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying on yeah, no, that's my point. It doesn't make the JFK thing is been the grassy knoll, and it's haunted the boomer generation in the country since then. Anyway, Tage,
people say that sorry, one more thing. People say he disassembled the rifle.
Go ahead.
Sneaking it up the stairwell, and then he had a screwdriver on the roof, and after he took this shot, he disassembled it again, but when they found the rifle, it was assembled in the woods, but the screwdriver is on the roof. So how did he put it back together? There's so many holes in the story, and there's so many inconsistencies. It just doesn't add up. And like I said, and the biggest thing is this 30 caliber, 30-06 round. It's a very high powered round. It's a monster of a bullet, to be honest with you. It's a huge casing, and that round has killed more animals in North America than any other round because there was a surplus of it in World War II, and it is devastating. Especially for the neck, it's such a small area. It should have blown out the back of his neck. I mean, I've seen guys' biceps and thighs like completely blown off the bone from smaller. It doesn't make sense. There's something weird going on as usual.
You said it's the round that won World War II, and the surplus. We create so many memes on it. That's why it was such a used by hunters when it's overkill.
We still don't.
So that's not adding up either. That's kind of funny. Left-wing academics. Watch that video. I can't play it now, but it's funny. These guys took 200 old TVs to the lake to take a photo. It might wake you up about our programming. You should watch that. This guy's got a point here.
Let me get,
because the Democrats have been demonizing white people for decades now. What's the reason behind this?
Get this straight. You can be proud to be black, proud to be Asian, proud to be Indian, proud to be Jewish, but if you're proud to be racist, listen.
But if you can be proud to be everything, but if you're proud to be who you are, and if you happen to be white, then they call that racist. Isn't that racist? It's a fair question, he says. Before we fix something that needs fixing, we should be able to be very clear on what the F we're fixing. Don't get it twisted. I don't care what color you are. I care about your character. I care if you're solid, good people, good values. I think that's all that should matter. Should all be held to the same standard, valued for what we produce, held to the same rules, judged by how we treat people. But that's not how it is. Some people get special treatment. Their pain gets prioritized. Their actions get excused because we sympathize for what happened to their people in past generations. And that's what creates division. That's what creates inequality. That's what breeds real racism. Well said. CNN says Democrats have lost 2.1 million registered voters. Meanwhile, the Republicans have gained 2.4 million. Data on voter registration by party from 30 states in 2020 through 2024. So up through last year's election, it looks like. Democrats down 2.1, Republicans up 2.4. They grabbed 300,000 out of thin air. And it looks like you got 2 million to either sit out and 2 million to get up, but you just swapped them. That 2.1 is swung all to Republican because nobody believes in Democrat policies. We see what they're selling and we don't want it. Gad Sad says, are Muslims safer in Christian countries, or are Christians safer in Muslim countries? The early vote, after 1,100 votes, Muslims are safer in Christian countries at 97% than Christians are in Muslim countries. Ryan James Gerdusky says, here's the 2024 map if only white people voted. And then you wonder why hating white people is at the heart of the progressive movement. It's an entirely red country if you break it down in those demographics. And then you see what the Democrats are doing to turn everything up to 11 to amplify and lie. Lie and amplify. That's their tactics. Lie, then amplify. This is a wild video you should watch. Narrowly averts a crisis, then ends up in one. Megyn Kelly is asked at Turning Point USA event about the influence of rich billionaire Jews on U.S. politics at a TPUSA event in Virginia. Watch that clip. Another non-English speaking truck driver causes a fatal crash in California. The media does not want you to see this. Not paying attention, traffic slowed down and just absolutely demolishes that vehicle. Another fatal crash, another American life taken. There's a Kenosha, Wisconsin retail theft ring that's tied to Mexican cartel. They're on 8 arrests now. These are the types of people that you don't want to sneak into your country, which is why ICE exists, because we have an immigration enforcement arm. That means you don't get to sneak in here, and you definitely don't get to sneak in here from the Mexican cartel and start robbing our country. No, that's not a thing. Rutgers, they asked if the murder of Trump or Elon could be justified. 50% of the left said yes. 14% of right of center said yes. Even that number is shocking. How could it be 1%? But obviously, it's 3 times greater on the left. Destroying Tesla dealerships in protest. Is it justified? 60% of the left said yes. 23% right of center. This is just terrifying data. Posobiec said he didn't appreciate Joe Rogan's take on Charlie Kirk.
This isn't a both sides issue. The bullets are flying in one direction. They want you dead. They want your kids dead. They want your friends dead. They want your family dead and bloodied. They will shoot your children while they're in church. They will shoot your friends for trying to have a discussion, and they will celebrate on it. And then their talk show hosts will go on TV and say that you were the ones who did that. That was your fault. And by the way, I saw what Joe Rogan was saying about Charlie yesterday, and I really don't appreciate it.
This is like all boiling up with this Charlie Kirk thing and this Jimmy Kimmel thing. The Jimmy Kimmel thing is, unfortunately, I think what he was trying to do was just set up a joke. He was trying to knock on the MAGA people, but also set up a joke, which was good. It was very funny. Like where he showed the president's response to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, the new ballroom they're building.
And he said like the fourth stage of grief is construction.
It's a fantastic joke.
He also said that's not how a grown adult reacts to the death of his friend. It's like a 4-year-old mourns the loss of a goldfish.
Yeah,
very funny.
It's a great joke. He was trying to set it up.
Yeah, but he set it up in a way that, like, okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate, right, according to the narrative. Now let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot.
I'm just going to say that right now. I really don't appreciate it. Charlie cared a lot about Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan did more for liberty and the good of humanity than almost anyone on the planet in 2021. God bless Joe for his courage.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, trying to say, oh yeah, your fan did it. By the way, have you heard this? Now people are searching for the 1998 movie called Snake Eyes after learning that a character named Charles Kincaid is shot in the neck by a Palestinian sniper because Charlie was working it with Israel. He is shot during a boxing match where Tyler, the executioner, throws the fight. Scenes were filmed at Trump's casino in Atlantic City. I haven't had a chance to dig into this. Have you dug into this one yet? I'm seeing this everywhere. Yep, left hate leads to murder. They're saying if your pastor didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk on the Sunday after he was killed, you need to find a new church. We said that the first pastor we tried gave us wimpy whataboutism. Nope, not wasting our time on that. Not going back. President Trump just dropped a bombshell about the Smith-Mundt Act being restored to its former glory. Time to obliterate Obama's sabotage and take this country back to 1948 when American people weren't brainwashed by government-backed lies. It's 2 minutes. I don't know this account. Let's just listen to the...
A landslide times 2. When you have that level of popularity or voter support, as I did in the last election, and yet 97 and 94%, different numbers. You see different numbers with different stats. But 97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal, personally. You can't have a free airwaves. You're getting free airwaves from the United States government, and you can't have that and say, and somebody that just won an election, and I had to go through this during the election. I think it's a miracle that I can win when 97% of the stories on the networks are bad, or whatever it may be, whether it's 89, it doesn't matter. It's a tremendous number. You know it, you report it all the time, and it changes. But when you have that kind of a negative reporting fake negative reporting. When they take a great story and they make it into a bad story constantly, that's what they do. Look, 60 Minutes took Kamala's answer and they threw it out and they gave her a different answer so that she sounded competent. When things like that happen, George Slopadopoulos from your network, right? George Slopadopoulos had to pay $16 million to me because of what he said. And that's ABC. You had to pay more than that. Your network had to pay more than that. So I think it's very sad. But I think that reporting has to be at least accurate to an extent. Again, when somebody is given 97% of the stories are bad about a person, that's no longer free speech. That's no longer, that's just cheating. And they cheat. And they become really members of the Democrat National Committee. That's what they are, the networks, in my opinion. They're just offshoots of the Democrat National Committee. Mr. President.
So it's not really, he didn't say Smith-Mundt being restored, but in a way that is what they're trying to dismantle. It's propaganda from the deep state Democrats. That's all they're providing. But they're trying to pretend they're part of this network with the FCC. They're really just a campaign arm for the Democrats. So, yeah, there's that. The Texas coach has been shot during a team prayer. 3 men have been arrested after a youth baseball coach was shot in the shoulder while praying with his players. Authorities say the suspects were firing from a nearby pasture. The coach shielded a child from the bullet. Shot during prayer. So keep your eyes peeled, people. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Will I be back tomorrow at the same regular time? We will see. Maybe it'll be a little early again tomorrow. Let me kind of play that one by ear. But for now, I'm going to sign out. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.